Hey vinyl community, how you doing? Music community, everybody else. Hope you're doing great today. Glad to see each and every one of you. Happy to have you on Beatle Brad's channel. Definitely, this is great. Well, one of my viewers, Curtis Simpson. I hope I got your last name right, Curtis. I apologize. I normally don't look at your last name, but there's his last name if you guys want to follow him. Curtis has got a terrific channel. He really does. Curtis is mostly an Elvis collector and Johnny Cash and a few other people here and there, definitely. But I wanted to help him out because he said he started to collect Beatles albums. And if you saw Curtis's video, I hope you did, Curtis has got a great channel. So check out his channel. Like I said, it's Curtis, and then his last name, Simpson. I apologize. Like I said, I'm probably butchering it. He just bought the Beatles album Revolver on vinyl, and he got Rubber Soul, the CD that's coming in. And I apologize. I can't remember the other CD that you're getting, but I know, excuse me, for Curtis, space is kind of a issue. So this video is basically to help Curtis to decide what to get next. So all of us can remember the early days of collecting and just starting out buying Beatles. So that's what this video is about, to help Curtis to decide what to get next. I know you're all going to scream something out and you're all going to type and say, oh, you made the wrong decision. You shouldn't do this one first. You should get this one. It's a matter of opinion in lots of ways. It really is. But what I'm trying to do is, Curtis is just now starting to buy a few Beatle albums. And you know, it's like Elvis, Johnny Cash, Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, The Doors, Moody Blues. You know, you get into the section of albums or CDs, whichever one you prefer you want to buy, and you're really stumped, because if you're just buying it for the first time, you don't know if this album's better than this album or this album's better than this one. You really want to spend bang for your buck. You really do. And I understand that, because I want to do the exact same thing. When I buy an album, I want, you know, terrific hits and well-known songs and stuff that's just really going to inspire me to buy that next album or that next album after the next album. I don't want to buy something and there's only like one hit on the album and then that's it. And you're like, oh, dude, I spent $30 on this album. Sorry, I got another itch. An itchy nose. I hate to spend $30 on an album, which is a lot of money, and then you only got one hit on it, and you're sitting there thinking, golly, I wish I had somebody to kind of help me. Well, that's what this video is going to do. For a lot of you that are earlier collectors, a lot of my younger viewers that I know that are younger, that are just starting out, this might help you as well in deciding on what album to get and why. So with the Beatles, it is very confusing, because you've got the American pressings and you've got the UK pressings, and they kind of went back and forth from country to country back in the 60s, to where a lot of groups in the 60s, you like I was saying a couple minutes ago, you only get one hit on the album and then the next hit is on the next album. To where lots of times on every Beatles album, guaranteed, every Beatles album, you're going to hit at least 2 to 3 or maybe even 4 to 5 hits on one album. I'm not going to go through every single album and say this is a hit, this is a hit, this is a hit. It's basically just a starting platform on what to collect. I know I'm kind of talking a lot. This will probably be a little bit longer than a regular video, because I'd like to take my time and explain stuff thoroughly for not only Curtis, but for you, my viewers. So Curtis, like I said, he's gotten Rubber Soul coming out on CD. And for the majority of my collection I'm going to show will be on CD, because that'll help Curtis out, because he's kind of doesn't have much money and he doesn't have much space. And that's two things that a lot of us don't have. It's money and space. So this is really going to hit a lot of us, because it's going to be a lot of fun. So let's get started on this, on what to collect next. in collecting. These are all my opinions. This is how I'm going to do this video. So just sit back and enjoy and get ready to see some Beatle albums that I kind of feel as if which way you should go on purchasing. And if you've got these, great. If you don't, then maybe that'll fill in some of the holes for you. But if I was collecting and starting off with the Beatles and I knew nothing about the Beatles, the first album I would take Curtis to, or anybody else, is Beatles 1. This is a compilation CD of all their greatest hits. This is a great CD to start off with because we got a lot of glare. That's one reason why I'd get it. It's the glare CD collection. That's exactly what you need. Glare! Sorry. You gotta have fun when doing it, you know? The number one hits, you might as golly, can I not talk today or what? Familiarize yourself with the hits. We're gonna get through this, folks. Hang in there with me. You might as well start off with the hits. Start off with the number one big hits. That way you can kind of say, okay, well, I kind of like this song and this song and this song, you know, like Hey Jude and Revolution and Let It Be and I Want to Hold Your Hand and Paperback Writer. I mean, I'm just pulling these out. But this is the first one I would go to in purchasing for Beatles CD. Now, if you kind of want to go a little further on, Beatles, like Elvis and a lot of other bands, came out with compilation CDs. They came out with a 1962 through 66, which is a double album or a double CD. And then the next one they came out with 62 through 66 through 70. And that's this CD. Excuse me. This CD is really good. I really like it. I couldn't find my first one to do this, but this is a compilation of their greatest hits, and you certainly can not go wrong with their greatest hits in this CD form. It's really nice. Like I said, it's got a booklet and it's got 2 CDs. And this is another way to go, Curtis, or anybody else who wants to go into the CD route and you're not too sure. The American album we'll start off with is this one. And this is the American CD. And my CDs that I'm pulling are from both of these box sets. So I'm going from these box sets. Yes, you can buy these box sets in its entirety if you'd rather do that, Curtis. These aren't that expensive now. They were when they came out, but they're not now. So these have come down in price. And as you can see, there's only just a couple. There's 4. 4 on this one and 4 on this one. But it's kind of a nice way to buy these. And also, if you'd rather not do that, you can buy them as a complete set. Or you can buy these individually. And the cool thing, these are the American ones. Because you bought Revolver and Rubber Soul, and we'll kind of get into that. But this is the American Meet the Beatles. And this has got I Want to Hold Your Hand, which really basically blew everybody away. And this boy. This is on CD, as you can see, and it's on the Rainbow CD. But it's great quality, fantastic quality, because this is stereo and mono on the exact same CD. So when I go through all of these, you're going to see that all of these, the American ones, were made in that form to where they were all CD and stereo. Kind of get... Okay, Beatles' second album. This has got terrific songs. You might like this. This has got a lot of early's other groups, you know, like Roll Over Beethoven and Long Tall Sally. Some songs like that, which are really great rocker songs. I know you like a little bit more of the country and mellower stuff. This does have some mellower songs in it. But that's CD as well. And like I said, it's also mono and stereo. This was only created in America. I meant to say that. Capitol in America started withholding songs from England to create Beatles albums that did not exist anywhere else. So the Beatles themselves did not put out Beatles' second album. This came out in America and Japan and Canada and a few other countries. Canada was Long Tall Sally, not to make a long story short. But they started withholding songs and then they started creating their own. So Capitol started making these when in England, they really did not come about, but Capitol was trying to make as much money in the American market as they can. And that's why I'm showing you these, because like if you go to the store, Curtis, and you see Beatles' second album, you'll say, well, wait a minute, Brad didn't show that in the British CDs or albums. That's because it's an American album. So I'm just concentrating on the American ones right now. Beatles Something New. A lot of these songs were taken off of a couple other albums. This is a great, great album, almost from a lot of them from Hard Day's Night soundtrack, but this is really a great album. In that box set that I showed you, it didn't have Hard Day's Night, so that's why I'm not showing Hard Day's Night as an example. I probably should have. Beatles 65, you just got this? So you're probably looking through the catalog and saying, well, I've got this. And this is the American one. And all of these, like I said, all of these are on Rainbow, and they're all stereo and mono mixes. So you get the album in stereo, and then you get the album again in mono. So it goes mono and then stereo. Excuse me. I know I'm going fast because I got a lot to go through. So then this is the next set, which basically American just took a bunch of their Beatles songs and from Please Please Me and a couple other albums and just kind of mixed their own album and came out with this. This is CD again, just like I showed you, and it does the mono and stereo as well, which is kind of neat because in America, the mono albums sound totally different than they do in England. So they're really totally different, and they you hear different instruments. Because you may say, why would I want the mono? I just want stereo. Just want stereo. Everything's stereo. That's great. But also in the mono ones, you hear stuff, different instruments, or you might hear them talking before the song starts. That's kind of neat. Beatles 6 album. Kind of keep an eye on this because we're going to talk about this pretty intensively on vinyl. But this is a great, great album. Great American album, Beatles 6. And that's also mono and stereo as well. This one is terrific also. Help, which was the Beatles movie that they did. This was their second movie, and this one's in color. The Beatles did in the Bahamas, which Beatle Brad's been to the Bahamas. And I did a whole video about the Beatles in the Bahamas, if you want to go back and watch my video. There it is there, stereo and mono, like I said. Then Rubber Soul, and this is on CD as well, so you kind of get an idea. This is the CD of American and American. Well, yeah, it's American, but it's also the stereo mono. Kind of zipped through those, but if you need to go back through that, you can kind of get an idea of what that was. Now we're going to go into this box set, which came out a couple years ago. This is a great box set, and this is a stereo mono. But before we go into that, I want to show you, give you a couple examples of Beatles 6. This is the album itself. And this has got the original insert. So this is the original insert for, if you're looking for the Beatle albums, those are the originals. They kind of came in different forms. There's an orange and there was a blue, like a dark blue kind of. But first pressings of Beatle albums are your rainbow. So your first ones will be rainbow, and it's rainbow on both sides. Yeah, kind of keeping it fun. So that would be your first pressing, and first pressings are always expensive. I know you're an Elvis collector, and as you probably know, Curtis, and a lot of my other collectors, when you start looking for the first pressings, they are more expensive, just like Elvis, Led Zeppelin, The Doors, stuff like that. Then here's another copy of Beatles' 6th album. And this pressing is on Capitol as well. But this is a much later, this is like a third pressing or second pressing. It's the orange Capitol label. And it's, you know, it's still good. It's stereo, but it's second pressing. A little less expensive. You don't, I mean, I remember buying this in the store, so that's why I do have this one for my collection, is because I bought this in the store. And actually this has got sentimental value because I bought this in the mid-70s. And at the time, really, I didn't have the money, but my grandmother, actually she did, and she's gone now, so it's got huge sentimental value to me. And then you start going towards the Apple one, which is a Japanese. But then you can buy this same album without the flag, and it's the Apple series, and that's when the records, they switched over to Apple. I didn't have a purple one on Beatle 6 to give you an example, but this is a much later pressing than the orange one. The orange one was next, and then purple Capitol was next after that. And then when Beatles started doing Hey Jude and stuff like that, they repressed the albums and pulled them and put them on Apple Records. But just for an example, since you just bought this one, you bought this on CD, I believe. But I'm just showing you this as an example. This is the purple Capitol that I was explaining and talked to you about. So that's the purple Capitol vinyl. And there's nothing wrong with it. Actually, some of the purple Capitols are really good sound quality. Some of them are really, really nice. I know you said you wanted to buy a Revolver original, and you weren't sure. You had the purple label on your Revolver, which is not an original press, but I'll get to that when I get to the CDs of that album. Now we're going to the English CDs, and this is Please Please Me, which starts the Beatles album off with Please Please Me. Just some incredible rockers, just beautiful songs on this. This is a kicker of an album. It really is a great album. This has a lot of early terrific hits. Like I said, Please Please Me, and a bunch of other great songs. I'll let you look at the list. But that is an awesome album, one of my favorite. And like I showed you, there was Meet the Beatles. Well, originally in England, it was called With the Beatles. So to make it more confusing, that's why I wanted to show you the two variations of Meet the Beatles and With the Beatles. So I wanted to show you both in case you saw both of them. So see, here you go. This is With the Beatles and Meet the Beatles. And your song listing on With the Beatles is here. And the song listing's a little bit different on this one because this is the American one. Like I said, you know, they did a little bit of variation with this album in changing it. Shame on you, Capital America. If you kept it English and did it correctly, because the Beatles spent time putting these songs together. The Beatles spent time in the studio doing it correctly and putting it together so the songs would flow and the songs would sound a lot better. And then America chops them up. So really, in lots of ways, the Beatle albums in America were really pretty butchered. It's an inside joke for the people that collect Beatle albums when they did the Butcher album. A lot of people thought that that's what that reference was. And in lots of ways, it kind of was and kind of wasn't. But anyway, I'm not going to get into that. The Beatles' first movie, Hard Day's Night. This is the English CD of it. And there's your listings of songs there. This is a fantastic album. I highly recommend you getting this one also, Curtis. This is a good one. And then this next one I recommend you getting also. Beatles for Sale. This is a very good album. This has a little bit more country twist in their music and in their songs, which I know you like country a lot and you like a little bit easier listening. This is an excellent album to do that with. And you can buy these individually, or you can buy the box set like I just showed on that. And Help is their next album. This is 1965 we're up to now. And this album is in color. The movie, I meant. The album in color. The album's in color! Yay! No, but it's easy to mess up. The movie itself was the second album movie that the Beatles did from this album, and it's in color. So that's where I was going with that. Great one. Good album. And you recently got Rubber Soul. Like I said, you'll be getting that soon. This is the UK version. And this has different tracks that are on it as opposed to the American one. This is terrific. I know you just recently got this, but I think you got the American one. This is Revolver, and you just got this. Give it some time, Curtis. I know you didn't really care for this that much, but if you listen to this album a little bit more, Good Day Sunshine, Day Tripper, We Can Work It Out, Taxman, like I said, Good Day Sunshine, Eleanor Rigby. There are some just rocking classics on this album, and this is one of their biggies, that's for sure. And then Beatle Brad, if you watched my channel over the past 15 years that I've been doing videos, I've only been doing it for 2, just kidding. You know that my favorite album of all is Sgt. Pepper, Lonely Hearts Club Band. And the UK one of this is fantastic. I really enjoy it, really like it a lot. The UK's got a little bit different sound than the American one. Let me back up to this. You were talking about Revolver and saying you wanted to get Revolver, the original press from the UK, which is the Parlophone. I forgot to grab one of the Parlophones. An original pressing of Parlophone, Curtis, is going to cost you well over a couple, like maybe 130 or 150, depending on condition. So it's a very expensive album to buy as an original first pressing UK. To tell you the truth, I don't even have, I don't have one now, a first pressing of the UK Revolver album. I'd love to have one. I've got a friend in the UK who's looking for one for me. But I'm still looking for that, and, may run across it at a much better price. But they have recently put out the 180 gram of the stereo and monos of all of the albums on vinyl, and if you can pick that up, I guarantee you that would be your route to go. Okay, next Beatles album up UK is Magical Mystery Tour, and this is a terrific album. This has a lot of good songs on it, like Hello, Goodbye, I Am the Walrus, Magical Mystery Tour, just some really good songs. A lot of other ones. And I know my Beatle viewers are screaming out, "Oh, you ought to get Magical Mystery Tour. You need to get the White Album first." This is just my opinion on what Curtis should get. He should get, like I showed, #1 first, and maybe another Greatest Hits or something like that, and then maybe kind of pick and choose out of these albums. Next album the Beatles did is called the White Album, but actually this album is just really titled The Beatles, and this was how the album was produced, was called The Beatles. But Beatle collectors years and years ago started calling this just the White Album. So I don't want it to be confusing on what the name of this is. It's called the White Album, but it is actually called The Beatles. And this is a double CD. This is kind of like one of the first Beatle albums, go double CD. And this has got the pictures inside of it as well and all that kind of stuff. We just got through the Beatles anthology of redoing it on 180 gram. So you can pick that up on 180 gram as well, and that's really nice if you go the CD route or the vinyl route. That's just recently been done. And also to let you know, Abbey Road's coming up this year, and Abbey Road's a big album as well. We'll talk about that in a minute. Then I know you got the song you liked, Yellow Submarine. Well, this is the movie Yellow Submarine, and then this is the soundtrack to the movie. The songs, they're over here, which are the songs which are actually very good. All together now, I really like that a lot. Yellow Submarine's a great song. This was for the movie Yellow Submarine. And then side two is all instrumental and kind of classical. A lot of Beatle fans feel as if you got ripped off when you bought this. But actually the classical's not bad. It's actually pretty good. They've made different variations of this that have got more on it than just this album. But this is good. This is good with just sound quality. And then we showed, talking about Abbey Road. This is Abbey Road, Beatles. This has a lot of huge hits. Paul, Fit to Be Tie-Dye. This is Paul, Fit to Be Tie-Dye. This is his favorite album. This is a lot rockier than the Beatles are known for. Kind of like the White Album. The White Album's a lot rockier than for what the Beatles are known for as being, instead of being mob tops. But there are some smooth, beautiful songs on here like George Harrison doing, like Here Comes the Sun, Dear Prudence, you know, which was on the White Album. Different songs like that. Come Together is a beautiful song. But yeah, this is a great one to get. I apologize if this video is going a little longer than my normal videos, but this is more or less of a teaching video. So this is like a class you're all are taking. And it's free for you, so shut up! Sit down in your seat. Quit running around the classroom. So this gotta have fun with the videos too. This is the next one that Curtis, you just bought. This is Let It Be. By this time, the UK and the American one, there's really no difference. But this is a great album. This is their last album that they did as well. Part of this is in the studio, and then part of it's on the rooftop. The CD is fantastic quality. This is kind of why I went to the CD route, because kind of like I explained earlier. For Curtis not having as much money or space, which a lot of us are kind of in that situation. All right, Curtis, I hope this was some help to you and to some of my newer viewers that are younger that are just starting to collect. I hope this was some help to you too. There's a lot more other Beatle albums I could have gone over, different pressings, different variations, different parlophones, different capitals. Showed you a little bit of the different ones, like the purple and the orange, and the rainbow one, the rainbow swirl, and also the apple. We could go on for hours. Seriously, you could make this a 3-parter very easily. And there are a lot more people that can explain it a whole lot better than I can. But this is kind of a simple, easy, one-step explanation on collecting Beatles CDs or albums if you prefer going that route. But I hope this was some help to you. I hope you enjoyed the video, and subscribe. For those that are new, subscribe to my channel. Let me know what you thought of this video. Was it good? Was it a good class? Did we have a good class? Did we? All right, now time for recess. So, just having good fun. Hope you enjoyed my video. Nothing heavy, nothing big, that's for sure. But as I say on my channel, I'm out of here. Take care, everybody. See ya. Take care, Curtis. Let me know what you buy, all right, man? Have fun collecting and shop around. Don't buy the first thing you buy, because there's a lot of good prices and different variations on spending. That's another thing I wanted to mention to a lot of you. If you're collecting, check different sources. You'll find prices will vary. That's for sure. So be a smart shopper, but don't buy the cheapest one out there, because usually the cheapest one is usually the worst condition. Scratches on vinyl or scratches on CD. So you always don't want to go the cheapest route, but you always want to go the smartest route. Always kind of maybe buy not the cheapest, but not the most expensive if you're just starting off. Maybe in the middle, somewhere in between, to where you're not spending a lot, but you're not spending too little. But you're still getting a lot of bang for your buck, and you're getting the best quality out there. Okay, I have gone way too long, and I thank you for each and every one of you watching. And as I say on my channel, I'm out of here. Take care, everybody. See ya.